All right, guys, I want to welcome you to the very first episode of No Monopoly on Hustle. I'm super excited to be here. We got Max, we got Daniel. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background about myself, for those of you that don't know. I'm a kind of a weird entrepreneur, and I really, whenever I look at anything, whenever I do anything, I kind of look at it, how did it get to where it is today? But not from the positives, because those are always obvious. The positives are always on the top. But what did you have to overcome? What did the business have to overcome to get to where it is today? Like Walgreens used to be a restaurant chain. Nobody fucking knew that, right? So, and that's the thing. Everyone could keep hustling. Everyone could keep working. There's no monopoly on hustle. That's where it came from. Just do your shit, execute, take every opportunity, and that's what it is. We're going to talk about it right now with Max and Daniel, and for all the other episodes, that's going to be the idea.
Yeah. So I'm Daniel. I'm going to be your co-host for the first couple of episodes, just as we kind of get this thing going. Max is here with us today. Max, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Max Bolotov. I'm from Concept VR. So what we do production in the VR 360 space. We do immersive capture, and then we distribute it to either Google Cardboards, VR headsets, or Facebook and YouTube. So that's what we do. We film.
Awesome. Basically what everybody wants. We do what people want.
Yeah, and your company's been doing some amazing stuff, which is some of the stuff we're going to go into today. A little bit on the format of this show and how we're kind of setting it up. Obviously we have Artem, and he's going to be talking about his business ethics and kind of what goes into him running the companies that he runs. We're going to talk with you about what's happening at Concept VR right now, some of the projects you're working on. We have two features that we kind of have unique to this program. Right. The first one is execute or execute.
Yeah, so it's basically, do we kill an idea, execute, or do we actually execute it and go forward with that idea? And we're going to be grabbing these ideas from Product Hunt and just dissecting them and going through it. Is it a good idea, a bad idea? Should we stop? Should we pivot?
Yep. And then another segment of the site, the podcast is Scars Over Trophies, and that's really talking about.
That's that part is near and dear to me, and that's literally about being anti-fragile and kind of using your failures and surviving as a way to propel yourself forward. Because if you're not tested, if you haven't overcome anything, then everything can fall apart at any moment. And if all you have is trophies, then it's all one punch and you're down because you don't know how to take a punch. And I honestly don't trust people that haven't failed, because everyone has failed, and if you're saying you haven't, then you're just a liar, And there's just a difference between success and failure, where what do you do when you fail? Do you keep going? Do you use that to learn? Do you use that to better yourself? And those are people that are successful. They use failure, they use scars to get to where they are today.
Yeah, and I think we've all had our fair share of failures throughout the years.
Daily.
So I think let's get into Concept VR a little bit more, because it's great to have you here. It's great to have you on Premier Podcast.
Yeah, appreciate
super
it.
Exciting. Yeah. But tell us a little bit more. How did you kind of get into this VR world, and how are you working with such amazing brands? You guys are doing stuff with New York Times. You guys are doing stuff with Condé Nast Traveler and a lot of other great people. Like, how did this all kind of come about?
So it started about 4 years ago. I had a marketing job. I was kind of tired of it. Was working for somebody, and that's always hard. We know that. Like, we all want to be free to a point, but it was good money. It was steady money, so I did it as long as I did.
Golden shackles.
Oh yeah,
that's what that is.
And time came where I'm done with it. Want to do something on my own. Started a photography company. I was always into photography, but with a twist, right? Like you said, a lot of photography companies out there, So here I am with a partner. My partner at the time never held a camera, right? And he was actually the one who was like, okay, let's invest some money, let's buy some gear. I had some gear, and we started a photography company called ACB Photography. In the beginning, it was just 360 images, right? So we were doing panoramas. We did some work with Google Street View. If you guys know that project from the beginning, where they was just the Street View project, then they started going into establishments, doing like restaurants. So that's where we came in, and we started doing that. We were Google Trusted Photographers for a while. And then we started understanding that that market is saturated as well. So as soon as we got into panoramic photography, it was like, oh shit, there's too many of us out there as well.
Well, when you start getting emails from people asking you, hey, do you guys want panorama photography? Like, hey, that's what we do. Why are people sending us emails about that?
Or like,
that's when you realize that.
I especially when people like market to you and that's what you do. It makes you feel like maybe they don't know that's what I do.
Or maybe it's time to get out of this.
Maybe it's time to like focus on.
Or like completely undercutting, like, oh, can you do this for like $200? And we're like, no, like that's like 2 hours of my time, like I can't do that. So we started approaching it in a way of like, okay, what can we add? Packages sell, right? Everybody knows that. So we started figuring out who do we want to target first, and we figured out restaurants, right? What do they need? So they needed everything from food photography, interior photography, I'm talking regular stills, to websites.
So you like rebranded it, repackaged it.
Yeah, so I was really in the business of selling virtual tours, 360 panoramas, but everything else was a necessary evil for me to sell that package through. So I literally learned how to code in order to create all of that, ecosystem. So we started selling packages, and that lasted for about 2 years. And then the second pivotal point came where we said, this market is also dying out. What's the next best thing? And then we met two of our partners now that were manufacturing cameras, camera arrays that were able to capture 360 video content, not just photos. So we got super excited. We actually became one of their, customers, and we bought the gear. And then eventually, I don't think it took too long, maybe 2 months. We merged companies. They bought us out, and we started Concept as it is now. We did maybe one production with that camera rig up on our own, and then Concept VR came to life, where we started doing bigger and better things, approaching it for high level of like, what is the creative idea? How do we develop it? How do we tell a story in 360 and not just become a execution company where...
So you get packaging things, basically.
Yeah, and I think like the storytelling part of it is really great. I know like you guys got a lot of attention after you guys worked with Hamilton. You guys kind of filmed that whole production. We were talking before we started the podcast, and you said that you'd done this with another Broadway show before.
Yeah, so Hamilton actually happened about 2 years after the company started.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it happened last June, and it was a promo for the Tony Awards. So CBS Interactive actually reached out to us, and their client, or their partnership with Tony Awards, that was the brainchild of that, and we were the producers on that. But yeah, to your point, the first Broadway piece that we did was with Andrew Lloyd Webber's property called School of Rock. And that was one of the first 360s in Broadway ever created off Broadway, like not on the soundstage. So we rented a Catholic school in Bensonhurst, and closed it down like one floor for the entire day, for 2 days actually, 1 day of rehearsal and 1 day of straight takes. And it was a full production, about 60 people on set. So it was super fun, and that was the first dabbles into Broadway and VR.
Did you guys get a lot of action from that, or was the Hamilton one, I guess, something where...
Like I told you, Hamilton is the new kid on the block. Everybody knows him, he's popular, but School of Rock had a lot of street cred for us because it was one of those pieces that really worked in the medium. Their choreographer actually worked with our director of photography and the good folks at Steam Motion and Sound, who produced the whole thing, to optimize the performance around the 360 camera.
Very cool.
So like my biggest thing is like, why are you shooting this in VR? If I can shoot this in 2D and make it great, don't spend your money on VR. Do it for the right reasons.
That's good ethics.
Those are the kind of questions like I like to get into with the client and really understand why you're doing this. And School of Rock was a really good example of like how
you guys were a good fit for each other.
Yeah, it was really good, and yeah, Broadway people just get it.
I mean, I think what's really cool about what you've done is that you have these really great moments where you pivot, where you realize that there's something else that you have to do, and you start identifying that. And I think that fits really well with Scars, and really figuring out like what are those moments.
Right. So I feel like every time you pivot, it means you failed. Like, so here's the difference between people that fail that are not successful and people that fail that are successful. When people fail they're not successful, they call it failure. When people that fail are successful, they call it pivots. Every time you pivot, that means what you were doing is wrong, or it ran out of steam or ran out of juice. So it looks like you failed twice throughout your business until you found what's working. And you know what? It's inevitable. Eventually, you're gonna probably fail again. You're gonna have to pivot. Nothing lasts forever, right? Yeah. So, but that's good because you're able to kind of readjust and go after, the right move, the right train.
Yeah, and like as you went through those experiences, like what was going through your head, what was going through your mind as an entrepreneur, as someone who's trying to build something. Like, a lot of these companies were all on you, and a lot of it's based off your skills. But what tell us about that experience a little bit in terms of those moments.
I think the biggest takeaway from starting a VR production company rather than doing the photography company was micro. It was 2 people. Everything was done. We were wearing a lot of hats, and I still do wear a lot of hats in concept, but it's a little bit more organized. A lot more organized, I would say. We have departments. We have people that specialize in certain tasks. I have great partners who've invested a lot of time and money into this. All of these things were impossible for me to do alone, right? Like at that point in my life. So, I invested in, sweat and blood and sleepless nights and, going after clients and figuring out what works and what doesn't. So I think the biggest lesson for me was you can't do it alone. No fucking way.
Did you have a hard time letting go of certain things?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? How did you overcome that? Like, what did you have to do to,
A lot of failures, and in particular, a lot of projects that, for instance, wouldn't close because I would be doing the sales, I would be doing the producing, I would be doing the stitching, and then you get overwhelmed very fast. Right. A lot of pressure, so timelines, budget, and you're almost like playing this game with yourself of like, oh, you can't do this on budget. Oh, yes, you can, because your salesperson is like, just make the sale, and your producer person is like, hey, no, this is impossible, dude. What are you doing?
Like
we don't have budget for this. And that's what I had to do for a while. I think for about 1.5 years, and I started letting go when we got really big projects that were like 6 months.
You started trusting your team, I think. That's like a big step.
Yeah, it was a big kind of like, okay, I need to trust you, as individuals, as a team, and it was very hard to do. I think I'm better at it. There's still like points where
I feel like that would probably be one of the most difficult things for someone who is in the creative side of things. It's like you are creative, you are someone who's a photographer, you are someone who's out there, making the work. You really are selling yourself in a lot of ways. And when you are running companies in a very creative way, that is probably the most difficult thing to be able to say, like, okay, I need to trust these people to actually like get this thing done, to actually take it to the next level. And you've done a great job with Concept VR, honestly. Like everything that you guys are doing and all the projects you guys are working on,
it looks amazing.
It's
I think we should. I feel like we should almost like have one of the VR things on for a little bit. You just use it a bit. Yeah. But no, that's really, really, really cool.
You know what's cool? What? So the way you switched for like finally letting go, you did it kind of on your own terms. What happened with me is I almost fucking died before I let go. I was on the sales floor in my company. We had already multiple locations for Verizon Wireless, and I was still doing sales. I was still like helping people set up their email. And you know why I let go? I stopped digesting food. I was
your
so
body shut down.
Yeah, my body just said
like, no, it's
no.
Totally done.
Yeah, I worked 30. It was during the iPhone launch. I worked 30 days in a row, and I tried to make every single sale. And I was trying to like transfer contacts for people, like everything, And then my body just shut down. I had to step back, and I don't think I think I would have never let go. And then as soon as I did that, we doubled our footprint in the last 12 months, because I was able to step back and look at our technology that, hey, we need to change our POS system and everything like that. So man, I feel you. I mean, I got lucky that my body like almost killed me and I was forced to let go, but that's like one of my biggest weaknesses, that I can't just let go of the process and everything like that. But thankfully, I learned my lesson the hard way, and I let go.
Yeah.
Let go, let grow.
Yes, that's literally what happened. Yeah, man.
All right, so we are now at that point of our show where we are going to execute.
Yes.
We're going to look at something.
Cool.
All right, today we have a kind of a silly one.
All right.
But it's relevant. If we play this, we should be fine, right?
Yeah.
Eventually. If not, we're going to do this time. So basically, this
64% of Americans say fake news stories are leading to greater confusion between what's true and what's false. To combat the rise of fake news, we've created a sophisticated AI-powered fact evaluation algorithm.
No, it's serious technology, really good stuff.
Actually, no, it's made an arcade game. Introducing Fake News, the game. Play is easy. You're dealt a headline, and it's up to you to decide whether the story is real. Swipe right if it's true. Swipe left if it's not.
Trick is all fake news.
It's
literally,
yeah.
The real trick is all fake news.
for democracy. The better
So-
you are at telling fact from fiction, the higher your score. You can even check your sources at the end. Download fake news in the App Store for your iPhone or iPad.
Boom. Fake news the game.
Okay.
Is this a viable company? Is this something that's going to last? Is this just like of the moment type of thing? You know, are we going to just see more games and stuff like this that are based off of actual like news stories, or where is the future for this?
So this is how I would execute it, and what they should do is they need to tie it into Tinder, and that way when you swipe right, you know, like, hey, monkeys fly into space and conquer Mars, and then some other idiot also swipes right on, hey, monkeys fly into space and conquer Mars. That's clearly a perfect match.
I think that is a perfect match. Like if you guys both believe the same fake stories,
That's fine.
then you guys are gonna be pretty happy. So really, it should just pivot to be a dating site.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just an
That's-
extension of Tinder.
It's just an extension of Tinder.
Okay.
It's like I feel like if they
You know how
if
many
they do that,
relationships break up because people believe different fake news?
Especially politics, man. That chick can really.
There's fake news in politics?
No, but see what you did there. No, I'm saying like political views in general in
Yes.
relationships are like a big no-no for some people, and like I try to stay away.
Yeah, that's a good.
But
Well, this is good. This is I mean I think it's I don't know how they're monetizing it, but especially right now, if they're able to
yeah.
collect
How
this
do you
data-
monetize
yeah,
this?
are there
Like
fake
what?
ads or something? Like
The fake news.
All ads are fake ads.
It's a fake ad.
that was a trick
It's just-
question again.
Another quick question. I have no idea how to monetize this. I mean, this looks like it's actually a council.
I'll tell you how they monetize it. So this is how they monetize it. When you swipe right on the fake news, you know how much those leads are worth? It's a bunch of idiots. You can sell them anything. You sell them fidget spinners for $50
honestly,
a pop. The
it
ones
could
that
very
swipe right
easily
on the
be.
screen.
This is just a Trump extension for his new campaign for like getting ready for the next election. He's just gonna figure out
Who's his
who on
target
the
audience.
This is not even. This isn't a business.
What are you
This
talking
is
about? This could be used for
this is a
both
political
sides.
campaign. This is really just a political campaign. You know exactly who to talk to.
Yeah.
All right. So execute or execute. Fake news. Is it gone? Does it make sense to continue, or do we have a potential dating site here in the future?
Only if they actually do something with that data of those idiots. Like you need to market to the idiots.
Yeah, or just market to the ones who believe everything.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Very, very cool. You? Execute?
I would agree with that. I don't see a lot of
length on this?
length in this.
This
Maybe
isn't,
like
this isn't the next, the next big Flappy Birds or...
this is not Pokemon Go.
it's not Pokemon Go.
Unfortunately.
No? All right.
Genius. Augmented
what I'm
reality.
here for.
Augmented reality with fake news.
Okay.
That's what it is.
You can just put it up and it'll show you where the Confederate statues used to be.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this is the America I wanted. Yes, perfect.
There you go. You guys figured it out.
All right, awesome. Now we're on the very last bit. I wanted to thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, Max, this was great.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Flew
man.
by so fast.
What a
Very
great
brave
way
to be sitting
start.
down with this man here.
Yeah,
very,
He's a
very
good
brave.
guy.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the endorsement.
All right, so for the last 60 seconds of our podcast, we do a little mash
Minute? Yeah, I guess we're gonna do that.
Where this gentleman here talks about something that's.
I'm gonna yell at the camera. I'm gonna yell at the camera
you
for
go,
60
you go
seconds.
yell at the camera. Can we get the
Shit.
camera just on him? Is that possible? Do we have that angle available?
Is it technology?
All right, is it happening?
All right, cool.
Okay.
So I kind of want to talk about, I guess, fake news. And when it comes to, every time I see someone mentioning a business, oh, that restaurant is doing so great, they have lines around the block, or hey, I heard about this company everywhere, they must be doing amazing. People keep forgetting that when it comes to profit, it's not just revenue. So that restaurant is doing so amazing, maybe they're paying up the ass to get those people through the door. You have no idea. You don't know what their rent is like, you don't know what their payrolls are like, maybe they're not paying their taxes. No one knows that. So people need to kind of step back, and just because a business has really great revenue doesn't mean they're making money. That amazing restaurant might close down. That thing you see everywhere all over the place, that could close down. You know, Silk Road, what an amazing business. Was not an amazing business. They were literally killing people for cryptocurrency. So just because something is everywhere, that just means they have amazing branding, or they have a good way to get people through the door. It doesn't mean they're making money. So just be careful. Actually analyze the business. Until you see the books, you don't know if something is successful or not successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I have another idea for this thing.
What's it? No, let's do it. Wait, hold on.
I just came up with it. Wow.